जी यहाँ उपस्थित सब इस मंदिर के दुर्गा माता के भक्तगण, पहली बार मैं एक सभा संबोधित कर रहा हूँ जहाँ महिला के बहुमत प्रचंड है और हम पुरुष लोग अल्पसंख्यक में हैं। ऐसे हमारे हिंदू समाज में, आई एम related change to English, in our heritage, the women and men were, although had separate spheres, but they were equal. And it was possible to be equal because our society gave primary importance to and priority to knowledge. And when it came to knowledge, there was no difference between men and women. It's only when invasions took place in our country from abroad that physical strength became a factor in society. And we are again now entered in the 21st century. The United Nations has declared this as the knowledge century, and therefore men and women are once again on an equal platform. Judging by the exam results of the school certificate in Delhi, it appears that women are more intelligent than men. But our history is replete with the importance of women. And as an example, I've told many people, I say it in many meetings also, that Brahma had formed a cabinet and he distributed 4 portfolios, and the 3 of the most important were to women. For example, education went to Saraswati, finance went to Lakshmi, and defense went to Durga. And male God got only one portfolio, that is information broadcasting to Narad Muni. So this tradition continued. And when people took advantage of women's physical relative weakness, the whole society rose in defense of them. Draupadi's incident of her sari being pulled, and that led to Mahabharata war. Similarly, you found that when it came to Sita, a whole kingdom was destroyed by her husband. He was a Raja. He need not have worried about women or a one woman or a one wife, but he became Maryada Purushottam, which means he is the example to follow. And his example is stick with one woman, and that is the message for all men. And that's been our tradition. And women may have worked out their spheres of influence, but the most important thing for women is that there is no sphere which has been kept out for them. When Adi Shankara moved through the whole of India to convert everybody from Buddhism to Hinduism through discussion, what was called a Shastrat, he ran finally into Mandar Mishra in Bihar. In Rajgraha, he challenged him to a debate. He said, if I lose, I'll become a Buddhist, and if you lose, you become a Hindu. The real question was, these two are the biggest scholars, one of Hinduism and the other of Uttaramamsa school, but more Buddhism. And who would umpire it? And Adi Shankara then suggested, your wife is a scholar, let her umpire the debate. And she did. She asked him several questions and then started the debate. The debate went on for months. And finally she adjudged her husband as loser and Adi Shankara as winner. And thereafter Adi Shankara appointed him as the Shringeri Acharya. And that's how the Shringeri Acharya tradition started. So there is no question that a woman must be a chattel for the man or the husband. She could even judge her husband in a public debate. That was the status that we enjoyed. And we had women warriors also. People know about Rani Jhansi, but there are so many other examples. Take, for example, Rani Chennamma in Karnataka, very few people know. And women have been very strong. They have been very strong-willed. You may say anything about Kaikeyi, but she was a very strong-willed person. And during the war in Iran, she came originally from Iran. Iran was that time part of India. And in a war, she sat on the side by side with her husband Dashrath, and she helped him to see that his chariot didn't topple by putting a finger where the steel rod had fallen out. So the role played by women in scholarship, in all fields of life. But ultimately, the most important part for women is bringing up children, the family tradition. And I'm happy to say that when I tell people that the women are the ones who have maintained our tradition, we are a country which is unique because despite all the invasions, we are still 82% Hindu. And this is not the experience of other countries. Iran was Zoroastrian. The Islamic invasion, in 15 years they converted the whole of Iran into Muslim. And today it's a Muslim country. Mesopotamia, Babylon, now called Iraq, they got converted to 100% Muslim in 17 years. Egypt got converted to 100% Muslim in 21 years. Europe got converted to Christianity in 50 years. But in India, we had 600 years of Islamic assault and rule, and 200 years of Christian rule through the British, and yet we are 82% Hindu. That's because of the determination of men and women, in particular women who brought up the children to become valorous warriors for the future. Today, I would say the job of women is not only to have a satisfying life for themselves, but also to see that the children are brought up with the needs of modern society. I would say the one thing I've noticed in the difference between the way we Indians bring up children and the way the Americans bring up children is that the American parents tolerate a lot of questioning by the children. And the children are all the time asking why this, why that, and so on. Even if they go to Disneyland, they will be saying, why does he have big ears, Mickey Mouse? Why does he have small ears like us? So questioning mind is encouraged. But in India, if a child asks more than 2 questions, they say, shut up, otherwise I'll give you a slap. That's a bad attitude that has come over the years. This questioning mind is something that women should develop with their children. The second thing we have lost somewhere on the way is the capacity to take risk. We are all the time playing safe. Most people ask me, you're fighting corruption, aren't you afraid? Why should I be afraid? Somebody is harming the country by corruption. It's my job to expose them. But people want to play safe. They say that, aren't you afraid? You might be thrilled, you might be killed, you might be attacked, this, that. This is the kind of thing where the psychology of the person is prepared to go easy. I taught for many years at Harvard University. And the professor of economics, I was there for several years. And at the end of the class, when the grades were given, I would assemble all the students, they came from many countries, including India, and ask the question, what are you going to do career-wise? You have 2 alternatives. One is to take a job, get your salary increases every year, and then at the age of 65 or so, you retire, get your provident fund, gratuity, etc., pension, buy a house and watch television for the rest of your life, or go to the park and feed the pigeons, something like that. Would you like that kind of life? Or would you like to take a risk and become like Bill Gates, a billionaire? Bill Gates was a dropout from Harvard, but he ended up being a billionaire because he took a risk. So this question I used to pose to my students. And I found most of the American students would ask me, what's the probability that I can become like Bill Gates? Then I will tell you which career I would choose. But my Indian students, 100% said, no, we prefer that job, where every year my salary increases, and retire. I'll be happy to retire with a pension and live a retired life. I would say, why would you do that? That's guaranteed poverty. Here it may be risky, but it's prosperity, huge prosperity. Why would you prefer guaranteed poverty? So they would say, at least it is guaranteed. That's why we prefer it. That's the mindset. Fear of the future all the time. And that's why it's important for you to teach our children Bhagavad Gita at an early stage. I mean, you have to translate them in simplistic words to young people. Because what does Gita say? That if you believe in me, Lord Krishna says, if you believe in me, then you have only freedom of action. What the fruits of that action, I will decide. I will decide according to karma. And I'll put together a karma balance sheet, and on that basis I will decide. Then if you take that attitude, I'm doing my best. The outcome is Krishna's fault. And if I succeed, it is my achievement. But if I lose, it's Krishna who has let me down. You take that attitude, you'll never have stress in your life. And this has to be taught. So I would say one of the things that I would like our mothers to do is themselves to learn Sanskrit. Sanskrit is, in fact, I'm not saying read Sanskrit was the ancient Indian Hindu language. It's going to be the modern language of the future. It's a language of the future. You have to go to Google and see that in NASA they researched the question, what's the best language to store knowledge? And especially for artificial intelligence. And they came to the conclusion, published in the Journal of Artificial Intelligence, the reference of which is given to you in Google, that the only language that is very computer compliant is Sanskrit. And so Sanskrit is now. Then I also found from Google that there is a school in London called St. John's School. And that is supposed to be a very prestigious school. But the principal of that school has decided that all the students, there's a boys only school, so all the boys of ages 6 to 11, every morning will for half an hour recite Sanskrit shlokas. And he was interviewed and said, why in England of all the places, in a complete white school, why should you have this compulsion? He said, because reciting Sanskrit shlokas from the age of 6 to 11 leads to faster development of your brain than otherwise, and that's why. So if I in India say learn Sanskrit, this fellow is a communal fellow. He wants to go back to the past. But here are people who are examining what is best for their society and are taking from other societies. So therefore I would say all women, because there will be mothers, you must learn Sanskrit. It's very easy to learn today. And because there are so many other facilities available of tapes and things like that. Learn Sanskrit and teach your children Sanskrit. Converse with your child in Sanskrit. This will not take time, but you start the process. And then you will see that your children, if you educate them to say, be brave, do what you feel and you want to do after talking to everybody, make the decision, but once you fail, get up again and try again. And learn from why you failed. That kind of positive attitude to give to children is what we need in India today. Why? Because we are the youngest nation in the world today. Our average age is 26. 70% of our population is below the age of 35. And we all know that in economic development, the most important thing is not more capital and more labor, but more innovation. And that American society is excelled in that. And that's why they're going always, no matter what happens, they stay in the front. They invented first the integrated production system, then they invented jet engines, and then teleprinters, then after that fax machines, and now the internet, and they are soon going to be inventing other things also. And the fact of the matter is this innovation-minded thing, where you do research, there's a risk of not being able to produce anything, but at the same time when you produce it has huge impact. That innovation that only the younger generation below the age of 35 can do, and that we have got the largest of it. We have world's largest number of young people below the age of 35. So this only can be converted into positive thinking, dynamic approach of youngsters. If the mothers, instead of saying play safe, don't get into trouble, don't do this, don't do that, 90% of what we will teach our children is don't do this, don't do that, and so on. Not what you should do. That should be in fact 90%. And 10% should be on what they should do. So therefore you are now in a key position, whether you live in America, you live in India, but the fact of the matter is bringing up children is one of the most important aspects of life, and for a society, for a civilization to prosper. And if you go and read Ramayana and Mahabharata, you see how children were educated, whether it was by Vishwamitra or whether it was Veda Vyasa or whatever. The education of the children, giving them examples of adult life while they are little boys and girls, that is the most important thing. We need now in India only one thing: a positive-minded Indian public. Whether you live here or even if you live here, you have a tremendous impact on our Indians in India. So while culturally you be Indian, of course if you are a citizen of America, your first loyalty politically is to America. But culturally, we are still one people all over the world, and therefore for this culture to have renaissance, a new positive attitude necessary that the women can do, and that's why I was very pleased to come here.